What if I told you that the key to getting down on the floor to build a Lego castle with your grandkids or kicking a soccer ball around the backyard without that twinge in your back isn't about pushing harder at the gym? What if it's not about sweating more or lifting heavier? What if the real secret is about moving smarter? For decades, we've been fed this idea of no pain, no gain. We see images of athletes pushing through agonizing workouts, and we think that's what it takes. But what if that philosophy is actually the very thing standing between you and a life full of active, pain-free moments with the people you love most? If you've ever felt a little ache after a workout and thought, well, I guess this is just part of getting older, I'm here today to respectfully but firmly challenge that idea. It doesn't have to be. Hello and welcome. My goal for our time together today is simple, but it's incredibly important. I want to give you a clear, trustworthy roadmap to staying strong, flexible, and energetic for life. This isn't just about exercise. It's about preserving your independence, safeguarding your mobility, and making sure you are always ready for those spontaneous, joyful moments. Like when a little hand grabs yours and says, "Grandpa, can we play?" Now, you probably clicked on this video because the title mentioned exercises to avoid. And I'll be honest, that's a common way to frame it. But I want to reframe our thinking right from the start. This is not going to be a list of forbidden movements or a video designed to make you fearful of the gym. Far from it. Think of this as a guide to making intelligent modifications. It's about understanding your body and choosing the most effective and safest path to your goals. Our philosophy here is what experts at SA Health call moving from no pain, no gain, to a much smarter recognition that there is no gain when in pain. We want all the gain with none of the pain. We know that staying active is non-negotiable. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, recommends that adults aged 65 and older get at least 150 minutes of moderate-intensity activity every week, plus a couple of days of muscle-strengthening activities. But how we get those 150 minutes is what truly matters. It's about quality, not just quantity. Over the next few minutes, we're going to walk through 5 common types of exercise that, when done incorrectly or without consideration for our body's changes over time, can lead to setbacks. But for each one, I'm going to show you a better, safer, and often more effective way to get the same or even better results. We'll talk about everything from your cardio routine to how you strengthen your core, and I'll explain the why behind every single suggestion. Drawing on wisdom from institutions like the Mayo Clinic and the National Institute on Aging, you'll especially want to stick around for our #1 point, as it tackles the most common fear I hear about exercise for seniors. And the solution is simpler and more empowering than you might think. And a quick but important reminder: I am not a doctor or a physical therapist. Always consult with your doctor or a physical therapist before starting any new exercise program, especially if you have pre-existing conditions. They can help you tailor a plan that is perfect for your unique body and your specific goals. All right, let's begin our journey to smarter, safer movement. Coming in at #5 on our list of exercise types to modify is uncontrolled, rapid twisting. Now, I want to be very clear about this one. Many people here don't twist, and they become terrified of turning their body, which is a huge mistake. Think about your daily life. You twist to grab a seatbelt. You twist to reach for something in the pantry. You twist when you hear your grandchild call your name from across the room. The problem isn't the twist itself. It's the way we often do it in an exercise setting, fast, uncontrolled, and sometimes with added weight. I remember watching a man at my local gym, probably in his late 60s, doing what are often called Russian twists. He was actually doing was putting an immense amount of rotational stress, or shearing force, on the delicate discs in his lumbar spine, his lower back. Here's the simple science behind it. Think of the discs between your vertebrae like little jelly donuts. When you perform a fast, forceful twist, especially when you're also flexed forward, like in a sit-up position, you squeeze one side of that donut very hard. It's the combination of speed and force that turns a natural movement into a risky one. So what's the smarter action step? We need to trade speed for control. One of the best modifications comes from the world of chair yoga, which senior lifestyle and other wellness experts champion for its ability to improve strength and mobility with less stress on the joints. I want you to try a seated spinal twist. Sit tall in a sturdy chair with your feet flat on the floor. Place your right hand on the outside of your left knee and your left hand on the back or side of the chair. On an inhale, I want you to lengthen your spine. Then, on your exhale, gently use your hands to guide your torso into a twist to the left. Your head should be the last thing to turn. Hold for a few deep breaths, feeling a gentle stretch, and then slowly return to the center and repeat on the other side. You're getting all the benefits of spinal mobility without any of the dangerous shearing force. This builds a core that's not just strong, but intelligently strong, ready to support you in every daily activity. The red flag to watch for is any sharp, shooting, or electric-like pain during a twist. If you feel that, it's a clear signal to stop and consult your doctor or physical therapist, as it could indicate nerve involvement. Now, building that gentle, controlled mobility in our spine is a fantastic foundation, but we also need strength in our lower body to support that spine. This brings us directly to our fourth point, the truth about deep squats. At number 4, let's talk about squats. For many of us, the squat is the king of lower body exercises, and for good reason. It builds strength in your legs, glutes, and core, which is essential for everything from getting out of a chair to picking up a grandchild. But many people, perhaps having heard a warning from a friend or read a headline online, are afraid of them. They've been told that squats are bad for the knees. This is a classic case of a good exercise getting a bad reputation because of poor form. The specific movement to be cautious of is the very deep, rock-bottom squat, especially if you have a history of knee issues or if your form isn't perfect. Let's look at the why. Your knee joint is a complex hinge. When you squat down really deep, you can put a lot of pressure on the ligaments inside the knee. If the muscles surrounding your knee aren't strong enough to control that deep movement, the joint can become unstable, leading to strain or injury. I have a dear friend. Let's call her Carol. Carol was determined to stay fit, to keep up with her garden. Within a few weeks, she developed a persistent ache in her right knee that made kneeling down to weed almost impossible, the very activity she was trying to preserve. The smarter action step is to focus on form and use modifications. The gold standard for a safe squat is to lower your hips as if you're about to sit in a chair. But here's an even better starting point, and it's an exercise recommended by experts. The chair squat. Stand in front of a sturdy dining chair with your feet shoulder-width apart. Hinge at your hips, keep your chest proud, and lower yourself down with control until you just barely tap the chair with your bottom. Then, without fully sitting or resting, squeeze your glutes and push through your heels to stand back up. A chair is your safety net. It guarantees you don't go too deep and provides support if you need it. As you get stronger, you can do it without the chair, always focusing on that controlled, parallel depth. The red flag here is any sharp pain inside the knee joint or a feeling of instability as you lower or raise yourself. So we've covered controlled movement for the spine and safe strengthening for the legs. Both of those rely on a solid, stable center. And that brings us to the exercise modification that might be one of the most important on our entire list. Coming in at number 3 is about building a smarter, stronger core. I'm talking about rethinking traditional sit-ups and crunches. For generations, they became the universal symbol for abdominal exercise. Your intentions were absolutely spot on. The problem is, we now know that traditional sit-ups, especially for older adults, can do more harm than good. Let's dive into the simple science of why. Think about the motion of a classic sit-up. My own father, a man who prided himself on his daily dozen crunches, was constantly complaining about a stiff neck and a sore lower back, straining his neck while his deep abdominal muscles were barely doing any work at all. So what's the smarter, more effective way to build a core that truly supports you? We need to train our core for its real job, to stabilize our spine. And the king of stabilization exercises is the plank. To perform a modified plank, you don't even need to get on the floor. You can start by standing a few feet from a kitchen counter or a sturdy wall. Place your forearms on the surface, shoulder width apart. Step your feet back, so your body forms a straight line from your head to your heels. Now, the key is to engage your core. Imagine you're zipping up a tight pair of pants. That's the feeling of pulling your navel in towards your spine. Squeeze your glutes and keep your back flat. You should feel your abdominal muscles working to hold this position. Hold for 20 to 30 seconds, rest, and repeat. As you get stronger, you can progress to doing it on your knees, on the floor, and eventually on your toes. This exercise builds true, functional core strength without putting any strain on your neck or back. A red flag to watch for is any significant sagging in your lower back. If you can't keep your back straight, it means your core is fatiguing, and it's time to rest or choose an easier modification. All right, let's just take a quick pause here. We are halfway through our guide to smarter movement. We've talked about replacing rapid, uncontrolled twists with gentle, seated twists. And we've just discovered why planks are a superior way to build a functional core compared to traditional sit-ups. If you're finding this guide helpful and are having a few aha moments, I would be so grateful if you took just 1 second to tap that like button below. It really helps the channel reach and help more people just like you. Thank you for that. Now let's get back to it with 2 of the biggest topics in fitness. At number 2, we need to address cardiovascular exercise. Specifically, let's tackle the debate between high-impact and low-impact cardio. For a long time, running was seen as the gold standard. So if you ever laced up your sneakers and pounded the pavement with the goal of keeping your heart strong, you deserve credit for your effort and dedication. The why comes down to simple physics. When you run, with each foot strike, a force of about 3 to 4 times your body weight shoots up through your leg. Think of the cartilage in your joints like the shock absorbers on a car. Over a lifetime, those shocks can start to wear down. However, for many people over 50, running on hard surfaces like concrete can be a recipe for joint pain. If you're new to exercise or already have some joint pain, repeatedly creating high-impact force is not the wisest strategy. My neighbor, a wonderful gentleman named Arthur, decided to start running at age 62. After a month, his knees ached so much that he had to stop. He felt defeated, thinking exercise just wasn't for him anymore. He fell into the trap of believing inactivity was his only option. But as we know, the use it or lose it principle is very real. The Mayo Clinic and other top medical institutions confirm that inactivity can actually worsen arthritis symptoms. Arthur didn't need to stop moving. He just needed to change how he moved. The action step is to embrace joint-friendly, low-impact cardio. You can get the exact same cardiovascular benefits without the pounding. The Mayo Clinic strongly recommends activities like brisk walking, swimming or water aerobics, and cycling. A red flag is if any activity, even a low-impact one, causes sharp pain or swelling in a joint. That's your body's signal to back off and consult a professional. It may mean you need a different type of activity, or that there's an underlying issue that needs to be addressed. Now, this leads us to our number one point. We've covered mobility, lower body strength, core stability, and heart health. The final piece of the puzzle, and the one that often carries the most fear and confusion, is building and maintaining muscle. And here we are, at number one. The single biggest area of concern and misconception I see for older adults is strength training. Specifically, the idea of lifting heavy weights. There's a pervasive fear that lifting anything heavier than a soup can will lead to a pulled muscle, a bad back, or a serious injury. The science on this is crystal clear. After about age 30, we begin to lose muscle mass, a condition called sarcopenia. Losing muscle doesn't just mean we get weaker. It means our metabolism slows down, our bones become more brittle, and our balance deteriorates, dramatically increasing our risk of falls. The goal is not to become a bodybuilder. The goal is to build functional strength, the strength you need to carry groceries, lift a grandchild, push a lawnmower, or get up from the floor with confidence. I'll never forget a conversation with a woman in her early 70s. She wanted to be able to lift her carry-on bag into the overhead bin on an airplane without asking for help. It wasn't about a number on a dumbbell. It was about independence and dignity. The smarter action step is to reframe heavy lifting as appropriate resistance training, and you have wonderful options. First, start with lighter weights and focus on more repetitions. Instead of trying to lift a 20-pound dumbbell 3 times, try lifting a 5-pound dumbbell 12 times with perfect form. Second, embrace resistance bands. These are inexpensive, versatile, and incredibly effective. They provide what's called variable resistance. You can do bicep curls, rows for your back, and presses for your chest, all with a simple set of bands. The ultimate goal is to challenge your muscles. The last 2 or 3 repetitions of a set should feel difficult, but not impossible. A critical red flag is any pain that feels sharp, sudden, or localized in a joint, rather than a generalized fatigue in the muscle belly. Remember, muscle burn is good, joint pain is bad. So there you have it. 5 major shifts in how we approach exercise, all designed to keep you active, strong, and ready for anything life and your grandkids throw your way. We didn't create a list of things to fear. We created a toolbox of smarter modifications to empower you. Let's quickly recap our wins today. We've learned that instead of uncontrolled, rapid twisting, we can use gentle, seated twists. And finally, we've dismissed the fear of heavy lifting and embraced the concept of functional strength, using lighter weights and resistance bands. The core message I want you to take away from our time together is one of empowerment. You are in control. You can build a body that is not only strong, but also smart, resilient, and ready for decades of joy and activity. It's not about avoiding life. It's about equipping yourself to live it to the fullest. Now, I would love to hear from you. In the comments below, please share which of these 5 modifications was the biggest aha moment for you. Reading your comments and learning from your experiences is one of the best parts of making these videos. And if you found this deep dive into smarter exercise valuable and want more content designed to help you live a vibrant, healthy life, please be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that little notification bell so you won't miss our next video. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Be well, stay empowered, and I'll see you in the next video.